feet to Hubble.
And Houston Atlantis, we have the telescope and the RMS in effector.
Reggie, we copy, and we're pulling down the KU right now, and we see that. Thank you.
The bottom of Hubble coming into view through the remote manipulator system's end effector camera. This same view seen through one of the closed circuit televisions up on the flight deck of Atlantis. Commander Scott Altman carefully positioning Atlantis within 35 feet or so of the telescope. And at that point, Megan MacArthur will maneuver the robotic arm over the grapple pin to secure Hubble to the shuttle's robotic arm. The equipment section coming into view with the aft shroud of the telescope. Behind those doors are the rate sensor units, essentially the gyroscopes that control the telescope's attitude. The white area, the wide field planetary camera 2 location. That camera will be swapped on the first spacewalk of the mission, replaced with a new improved wide field camera 3. And just above that, coming into view, the forward shell of the telescope, the various equipment bays that provide all of the electronics packages for the telescope. And the grapple fixture now in view. Megan MacArthur now repositioning the shuttle's robotic arm to align with the grapple fixture on the telescope. Space Shuttle Atlantis, all of its thruster jets have been inhibited. It's in free drift. And Megan MacArthur moving in for the final few feet for grapple of Hubble for the first time since its deploy following STS-125 back in March 2002.
Houston Atlantis. Hubble has arrived on board Atlantis with the arm.
Atlantis, Houston, we copy. Nice job, Megan. Nice job on the Proxops flying as well. It's great to be back with the telescope.
Thank you, Houston. Appreciate the support getting us here.
Atlantis, Houston, we're still verifying that the HST to drift command took. We'll have words for you in just a moment.
Okay, thanks, Dan. Everybody's very excited up here, I can tell you.
The Hubble Space Telescope safely in the arms of Space Shuttle Atlantis, high above Western Australia. The telescope was grappled at 12:14 p.m. Central Time, 1:14 this afternoon Eastern Time, at an altitude of 350 statute miles.
And Houston, Atlantis, it's good with you. We'll do terminate rendezvous ops.
Hey, Ray J, just give us another moment on the terminate rendezvous ops. We should have a go for you shortly.
Okay, thanks.
Atlantis Houston, a request for the payload commanding on Spec 210. Could you give us an item 7 plus 91?
Okay, Houston, here comes the 7 plus 91.
Atlantis Houston for the arm.
Go ahead for RMS.
Yeah, Scooter, if you wouldn't mind, could you maneuver the arm over to the published grapple position, just in case we have to do a maneuver to regain a good communication link to the telescope?
Roger that, understood.
And Dan, just to verify, I'm going to go to the expected capture position published in HFT berth on 3-9 of the flight sub.
And that's exactly right, Megan.
Okay, that's in work.
should be moving into an orbital sunrise here in about 4.5 minutes as Atlantis, with the Hubble Space Telescope firmly in its grasp, tracking northeasterly off the coast of Australia. Megan MacArthur is repositioning the telescope on the end of the robot arm to what was the published grapple position, that to hopefully establish a good communications link.
Atlantis, Houston, for Scooter.
Go ahead, Houston.
Yeah, I just want to let you know, of course, we issued the 2 commands for HST to drift. We haven't been able to confirm that yet. We lost lock to the telescope just before the grapple. So what we're looking at right now is we've got an attitude for you. Once we get the arm in position, we've got what will end up being about a 30-minute maneuver. And I've got DAP settings and an IMU deselect action for you when you're ready to copy.
Okay, Houston, let's go to work on the DAP.
Okay, for the DAP, we'd like to select A15 and B12.
Copy, A15, B12.
And then DAP no low Z.
Okay, we got A15, B12. Here comes low Z off.
And Scooter, if you're ready, I'll go ahead and give you the maneuver that we are considering having a maneuver to. We have got one more trick we can try, and that is to swap to the aft antenna to see if we can regain lock with it. But should that fail, here's the maneuver.
Okay, we're ready to copy the maneuver.
Okay, the roll's 175, pitch 090, yaw 0.
Copy, roll 175, pitch 090, yaw 0.
And then to prevent swapping on the IMUs, if you could deselect IMU 3 when you get a chance.
Okay, we'll deselect IMU 3 right after this. We're loading the maneuver in now. We'll wait to execute it on your call.
That's a good readback. Thanks.
Comes the item 9 to deselect IMU 3.
Roger.
And Houston, we show the arm in position for DAP maneuvers now.
Okay, we copy that. We're in the process of swapping antennas right now. We'll see how that goes and let you know if we need the maneuver.
The discussion with the crew has to do with getting a good communications link with the telescope to ensure that the final commanding sequences got on board the telescope. There's 2 different options. One is to swap the antennas, which you just heard. The antenna is located on the bottom of the telescope. If that doesn't get a good communications link because of the telescope's position relative to Atlantis, then there is an option to actually maneuver Atlantis to a different attitude for communications, and that maneuver could take about 30 minutes or so. So they'll obviously need to confirm the commanding before they would give a go to berth Hubble atop the flight support system in the aft end of the shuttle's payload bay. The two spacecraft approaching an orbital sunrise high above the Pacific Ocean, tracking northeasterly.
Shuttle Atlantis for HST.
John, go ahead for HST.
Yeah, I'm just looking out the window here, and it's an unbelievably beautiful sight. Amazingly, the exterior of Hubble, an old man of 19 years in space, still looks in fantastic shape.
We copy that. Thanks for those words. Atlantis Houston, we're ready for you to execute terminate rendezvous ops as written.
Okay, thanks, Dan. That's going to work.
John Grunsfeld, mission specialist aboard Atlantis, no stranger to the Hubble Space Telescope. He has arrived at the telescope for the third time. He performed spacewalks on the two previous servicing missions, STS-109, the most recent servicing mission back in March of 2002, and STS-103 back in December of 1999. He has performed a total of 5 spacewalks servicing the Hubble Space Telescope, and during this flight he has 3 more. He and mission specialist Drew Foistel will perform the odd-numbered spacewalks during the flight, EVAs 1, 3, and 5. Mike Massimino and Michael Good will perform the even-numbered spacewalks 2 and 4. Massimino performed 2 spacewalks on the last visit to Hubble, STS-109 as well.
And Houston, we're taking the logic and drivers off now as the last step of terminate rendezvous op.
Okay, we copy and we're ready for that. Atlantis Houston for the maneuver.
Go ahead, Houston.
Yeah, Scooter, still no joy getting a good link with the telescope. So we're going to have to go ahead and execute that maneuver. And for you, it'll be an item 18, then A auto on the DAP.
Okay, here comes the 18, item 18, and then A auto burn on the DAP.
Good readback.
Dan Burbank calling up to Scott Altman, commander of Atlantis, to go ahead and execute the maneuver to maneuver the entire vehicle with Hubble on the end of the robot arm to an attitude to support a good communications link to verify commanding before the berthing of a Hubble in the payload bay atop the flight support system. The commanding attempts while in this current attitude were unsuccessful, and so the crew's been given a go to go ahead and perform the attitude maneuver. This is about a 30-minute maneuver to the proper attitude to hopefully get a good communications link through the forward antenna of the Hubble Space Telescope.
Atlantis Houston, we just regained lock with the telescope. We can confirm the telescope is in drift mode. The sun point timer has been disabled. You can select inertial on the DAP. Once we've dampened out the rates, we can head on to the HST berth.
Great news, Houston. Thanks for the help getting through that. We're inertial now. We'll see the rates damp, and then we'll head into HST berth.
Well, that piece of good news, the two commands that the Hubble project needed to confirm were on board the telescope have now been confirmed to be aboard the telescope. That was that the the telescope was in drift. There was no chance of the reaction wheel assemblies attempting to control the telescope's attitude. While not a safety issue, it was just not a desirement to have the reaction wheel assemblies spin up to support an attitude control of the telescope. And also the sun point timer has been disabled. That was the other command that needed to be confirmed, and both were. And so the crew is...
Houston, we like the rates. Your go to free drift and pick up an HST berth. As a heads up, in the payload ops book, the latch and mate procedure, we have some commanding to do, so we can only go as far as steps 1 through 7 until we take care of some commanding.
Okay, copy that. And payload ops 1 through 7 only because of the commanding that needs to catch up. Copy.
Good read back, Scooter.
So the crew has been given a go to, once the inertial rates or the damping rates are clear on the Atlantis, the crew's been given a go to berth the telescope. A series of steps in a berthing procedure that the crew will follow. They will hold, at least for now, they plan to hold at the step just before connecting the remote umbilical, which provides power to the telescope directly from the orbiter through that flight support system. Some additional commanding would need to be sent first because currently the onboard batteries of the telescope are being charged through the solar arrays. And there's a command sequence that would essentially disable that so that the battery charging can be done through the power umbilical that would be remotely attached to the telescope through the flight support system.
Atlantis Houston for comm.
Go ahead for comm, Houston.
Yes, Scooter, just a heads up. In this current attitude, we, in about 18 minutes when we're on the east, will probably lose you. So for planning purposes, once we've got down through having the telescope latch through step 7, we'll have you go ahead and load up the maneuver in the flight plan at about 0000 MET and execute that.
Okay, Houston, understand. Once we have the telescope berth through step 7, which is as far as we can go because of the commanding, if we don't have you with us, your go for the maneuver from the flight plan that's timelined at 0000.
And that's a good readback.
Atlantis and the Hubble Space Telescope approaching the southern tip of the Baja Peninsula from the southwest. Atlantis has just begun the 32nd orbit of its mission, tracking northeasterly at an altitude of 350 statute miles. The crew has been given a go to perform the HST or Hubble berthing procedures. The first step, obviously, is to maneuver the telescope to the flight support system hover position. Once in position, the flight support system closed-circuit television setup will take place. The crew will perform those tasks and then configure the FSS or flight support system for berthing. And you can see coming into view the Baja Peninsula, the western coast of Mexico. Megan MacArthur now repositioning the Hubble Space Telescope high above the payload bay over the flight support system. There are 3 berthing latches that will hold the Hubble Space Telescope securely for all of the servicing tasks. The orbiter now flying across the Gulf of California. We'll take it across central Mexico, just south of Laredo, Texas, and just north of Corpus Christi, before swinging out across the northern Gulf of Mexico. This orbit will take the 2 spacecraft directly over the Kennedy Space Center, central Florida, in the next 15 minutes. passing high above Corpus Christi, Texas, just about to swing out across the Gulf of Mexico, essentially approaching orbital noon with the sun shining brightly on the Hubble Space Telescope as it is being prepared for berthing atop its flight support system. Showing signs of no worse for the wear in the little more than 7 years since it was last serviced by Space Shuttle Columbia and its crew in March of 2002. In this view from the camera mounted on the flight support system, the camera that first flew on the flight deck of Columbia on the first ever shuttle flight, STS-1, now being used to provide alignment, situational awareness to Megan MacArthur up on the flight deck of Atlantis as she positions the telescope properly to align with the three berthing latches